So I've been given this hard drive here that I'm going to do a bit of data recovery on. Yeah, we'll see what we can pull off it. I'm just going to put it into that computer there, and I'll pull up some tools on the command line. It's running Linux, and yeah, we'll see what we can get out of this. So I've just connected the hard drive to the computer on the SATA port. I'll pull it up on the command line and see if the computer detects it. So I'm logged on to my Windows machine and I'm just SSHing to my Linux machine because I don't have a screen connected to it. It's usually used as a storage server, but every so often I'll use it to do data recovery like this. So let's start with fdisk to see if it has appeared. So SDF 1.8 terabyte. I'm 99% sure that's the drive. I have a few drives in here, but I'm pretty sure that's the right drive. So what do we have in here? Alright, we've got a few Randy files. Just delete that. Back drive. SSB. Nice. Sparse bundle FS. Okay, so make the we'll just call it temp check. It's checking for check and drive. So mount dev SDF1 checking. Okay, that's interesting. So NTFS is in console. Okay, yeah, we've seen this one before. Based on run usage of very important. If the device is software grade, well, I doubt it's going to be. Now, it was given to me, so I don't know the history of this drive, but I'm pretty sure that it's not from a RAID array. Let's see if we can go test disk and see if that comes up with anything. So it's this one here. Now, yeah, it's a Western Digital. So file system list. I always forget how to use this tool. Sometimes I just stumble around in test disk, and usually what I'm looking for is it will usually show me the files, but it's so rare that I ever use this tool that sometimes stuff like this happens. So run test disk again. I just cancel that control C. File system utilities, analyze current. Pretty sure you want to do that. Change type, boot sector recovery, list and copy files. That's what we want to do. List and copy files does not match MFT record 0. So I think what I'm going to do now is hop onto Google and start having a look at some of these error messages it's giving me. I think what I'm going to have to do is run check disk on a Windows machine. The error indicates if I was in the screen, rather than the components in it, respective. But because the only way to truly repair NTFS is check utility disk, tech disk utility. There is a command, but it's not going to be the same quality. You have a drive connected to Windows. I mean, we could use NTFS fix. I've used it before, so let's try that. Actually, that worked. I cancelled it, but yeah, there's the files there. Okay. So That's interesting. Do I have NTFS fix on here? My man, and I do. Okay. Be dirty. We could do that. Be back bad sectors. Be the list of bad sectors is used after cloning an old disk. Be the volume dirty flag. I mean, if we're just doing data recovery, we could just clear the flag. Be the list of bad sectors. Because I really don't want to connect this to a Windows machine. Is it like this as SDFS 1? So comparing failed, going to empty the journal. Okay, can we mount it now? Okay, it worked. Checking. It's slow, which is concerning, but it's there. Well, that looks like it's important. What else? YouTube. So in this is where it starts getting a bit difficult, because it's like, what do I recover? Because you want to try and recover something pretty quickly. Dump. Let's just make a directory called dump. We'll go rsync checking checking that to dump. And I have no idea where my cursor is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that gets us here. Progress. I think it's show progress. Show progress. I think that was wrong. I hate this. Rsync show progress. Egg. I think I could just go man rsync. I think it'll be in here somewhere. Is it just progress? Could just be progress. Oops. Where am I? Progress. Progress. Ah, it's in. Oh, well, yes, because I'd want to do that. Now let's put the a archive. Sending incremental file list. So there's two reasons why I'm doing this. It looks like it's an important file for one, so it's worth grabbing a copy of it onto a good known disk. And the other reason is I'll be curious to see how slow it copies. The hard drive, because pulling up a directory listing seemed to be pretty slow. This is going pretty fast. Yeah, it's fine to me. I think the hard drive's probably fine. There's probably nothing wrong with the hard drive. It just needed to be, check disk needed to run on it. The guys I got it off beforehand, they did try loading this onto a Windows machine, and it was locking the system up or something like that. I'm not sure. I find loading anything onto a Windows machine can be hit and miss. Sometimes, like most of the time, will come up in the administration tools of the disk manager, and you go in here. Sometimes it'll come up. Sometimes it will just give you trouble. But if you use F-disk, it will always work, and if it doesn't work, then you know the hard drive is not working. It's either, it's it's probably like a bad logic board or something like that. If it does show up, then you know that the hard drive's working. It's if you can't mount it, then you have some other issues like yeah, it, what's going on here? We're sitting at 16%. So I don't know. Maybe the hard drive is bad. Maybe we do have issues. I would have expected that to keep progressing. So if this doesn't work and it's really slow to copy, then I'll probably looking at doing a full backup. So grabbing another 2 ter or trying to work out how big the contents on the hard drive is, or well, probably just grabbing another 2 terabyte and then using DD Rescue to rescue to try and copy the hard drive on its raw format, like on the dot, through the file system, but copy it directly off the hard drive and dump it, like the data directly off the hard drive and dump it on another drive. The problem with that is it can take quite a long time. I could just leave rsync running. I've done this before where I've just left rsync running for a very long time. There's a whole bunch of other flags you can set for rsync to retry if it has trouble getting a file. Generally, the good thing about rsync is if the file is just corrupt and it's just not copying, it will skip the file, and that's sometimes a good thing. If you use DD Rescue, you might just end up getting a corrupt file. So at the very least, rsync is doing a little bit of administration work. Anyway, yeah, so basically that's how I do a data recovery for when someone gives me a hard drive. I'm not a data recovery expert and what I'm doing is, essentially I've just looked it up on Google, and I've done this quite a few times now, that these are just my default tools I go to. So it's something that, like, every so often I'll need to get hard drive off get data off a hard drive. We started off, for personal stuff when a hard drive would break, and then I started, having people give me hard drives to get the data off, because it was it's a fun exercise. It's interesting to see that you can actually, when someone else can't do it, I can. And but I've talked to other people that do actual data recovery professionally, and what I do is like the very lowest level. There's tools out there and there's techniques, especially when you start like pulling apart the hard drive and swapping out the read write head the headers, and that sort of stuff. I've seen those on YouTube. It's insane. But what I'm doing is basically super simple stuff. Yeah. Well, I'll leave that running, and maybe I might come back to it.